I'm Tara Sweder, the offices of Versant Partners with mining and metals research analyst Rob Chang. Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Paint a picture for us, if you will, about the uranium sector. Is this still a sustainable resource sector?
I believe it is. I think the uranium fundamentals are fantastic in terms of supply-demand perspective. We have, if you look at it from the nuclear power plant's perspective, they require 179 million pounds of U3O8 currently just to operate. And as of last year, there were about 140 million pounds, call it, of uranium produced. Now, the main regions in the world are Kazakhstan, Australia, and of course, the best region is the Athabasca in Canada.
Let's talk about the Athabasca Basin for a second. What is entailed in that? What do the companies look like? What is the structure and the fundamentals of the Athabasca Basin as it sits now?
Sure. The Athabasca Basin is the most prolific area of uranium mining for quite a long time, recently surpassed by Kazakhstan, however, still quite relevant. It has the highest grades of any uranium district in the world, significantly higher. You're looking at numbers that are on the left side of the decimal in terms of grade percentages, whereas most uranium plays outside of that area are significantly below, either 1 or 2 decimal places over. It has excellent infrastructure. There are 2 mills there and fantastic power, roads. The whole system is all set up very well there. The dominant player globally for uranium is also dominant in Athabasca, which is Cameco. Cameco has several mines in that area, and there's also other players, including Areva as well as Denison.
You mentioned Cameco. Where are they positioned within this correction in the Athabasca Basin?
Cameco's positioned very well. As one of the larger producers in the world, they are consistently producing out of the Athabasca as well as other regions. What it's very interesting to note is they are taking advantage of the downturn in the uranium markets and the low prices around, and are opportunistically going after Hathor exploration. They're currently doing a hostile takeover of them, offering $3.75 in all cash per share for Hathor shares.
So what does that mean for the other companies in the area?
Well, it's great news for any neighbors that are of Hathor, in particular Fission Energy. Fission Energy is a direct western neighbor of Hathor exploration. It's arguable that some of their targets or potential resources are actually connected, or at least very close to Hathor's Rough Rider zone. So I believe it's actually going to have a very positive spillover effect to Fission Energy. In fact, it's my opinion that whoever ends up taking over Hathor will most likely be very interested in picking up Fission Energy as well, given the proximity and the prospectivity of the targets in that area.
How much do you know about Fission Energy's structure, and do they have a 43101, these kinds of things? Do you know where they stand in that position?
Definitely do. We cover Fission Energy. We have a speculative buy rating on the company, and currently the company does not have a 43101 compliant resource yet. However, their plans is to get it out either end of this year, maybe early next year, but I would assume later this year more than likely. The current estimates are somewhere between 15 to 20 million pounds. We currently are estimating just short of 18 million pounds of U3O8, and that's just the initial resource, which is for the J zone, and it does not include their J East zone, which is likely the western extension of Hathor's Rough Rider deposit, nor does it include any of the other deposits next door. That being said, that's just for the Waterbury property. They have a Dieter Lake property that's outside of the Athabasca, that's in Quebec, and that currently does have a resource of over 20 million pounds.
Great. So what does this mean for share prices on a whole?
Definitely positive for them, especially given that Fission's properties are right beside Hathor's. There should be a spillover effect, as I mentioned earlier. More than likely, from our perspective, the overall value, if a fair value was given to Fission Energy's properties in line or maybe slightly above of what Cameco is offering for Hathor, we believe that the proper value for Fission is probably around $1.50, somewhere in that range. It'll be a lot higher than where it's currently trading at right now.
What can you tell me about Germany's exit strategy from nuclear power in the upcoming years?
After the Fukushima incident, the German populace has been pretty negative towards nuclear power, and Angela Merkel, the chancellor there, is going through a re-election cycle and was formerly pro-nuclear, and because of this groundswell of support against nuclear power, has decided to exit nuclear instead, so it's an actual about-face. The plan currently as it stands is to exit nuclear by 2020, which is a fairly aggressive strategy given that we're going into 2012 now, and that means it's only 8 years. Currently, nuclear power accounts for about 25% of power generation in Germany, and if their plan is to replace it, they'll have to get pretty aggressive with either conventional systems such as a coal or liquefied natural gas, or use what they're planning on doing anyway, solar, wind, or other types of power sources. Now, that's going to be a very aggressive and very expensive plan. Currently, as we all know, the European Union is having a tough time, economically speaking. Germany is, of course, in it. And the estimates for replacing nuclear with any of those power sources is upwards of $300 billion or higher. So it's going to be a very expensive problem to deal with. On top of that, they're also going to be dealing with the standard "not in my backyard" problems. Having a nuclear power plant is one thing that's already built, but having a new coal plant, new liquefied natural gas plant, or wind farm somewhere, you're going to have people protesting against putting those up somewhere. So it's going to be a problem both economically and from just a matter of getting someone to allow you to put it somewhere.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, Rob. In the offices of Versant Partners in Toronto, Canada, I'm Tara Sweder.